This is now Denver's worst drought in recent memory. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. It's the first time in years that most of the city is in the highest level of drought. Take a look at the latest drought monitor data released today. Over the last week, the drought has worsened here in Denver, and almost the entire state is in some level of drought. All that red is extreme and exceptional drought.
And taking a live look outside right now, where it's not just dry, it is hot, it's hazy, smoky, the whole bit. Chief Weather Impact Team Meteorologist Kathy Sabin joins us now. We got more days of hot, hazy weather ahead.
We do, and this is exactly the midpoint of astronomical summer, so it makes sense, right? No, nothing about this summer makes sense. But the monsoon could be coming back. We just have to wait a few days. So relief is on the horizon. In the meantime, get set to sweat and get ready because we're back to a heat advisory for the weekend for triple-digit high temperatures and more of this bad air. Today, temperatures jumped up 10 degrees over yesterday's high of 84. We've 94. Oh, now 95 in Denver, 96 in La Junta, and 97 in Grand Junction. Could go warmer before the sun sets tonight. And then there's the smoke coming in with winds out of the northwest. The winds aloft traveling from the northwest to the southeast. All the wildfire smoke is coming from the Pacific Northwest. Kind of an ebb and flow situation where we get these pockets of better air and then we get that dense, nasty air. So air quality alert continues for the Front Range and much of western Colorado. And this is something we'll be talking about for the next 48 to 72 hours. In the high country, it's a fire weather warning. It's been hot, windy, and dry. So the main focus today, Aspen down to Telluride. Very warm and dry there. In Denver, a warm day, temperatures in the 90s. We drop into the 70s by about midnight tonight. Weather headlines include air quality alerts for wildfire smoke, red flag warnings for mountain fire danger, and heat advisories because we're headed back into the weekend with a high of 100 degrees. But it won't last. I've got some good news coming in the extended forecast in a bit.
Denver Water is stressing you need to follow the water restrictions in place because water reserves aren't going to bounce back after this winter. Denver and its reserves have been in drought for months now, and it's being felt. Dillon Reservoir is only 74% full, and water levels are way down. Cherry Creek is only 77% full. Chatfield is sitting at 83%.
Some of our streams right now that we use for water supply are only running 10 to 25% of normal levels, and those are the lowest levels that we have ever seen. Overall, our reservoir storage is only 75% full right now. That is the second lowest to the 2002-2003 drought.
This historically dry year is changing what summer looks like on Colorado's rivers.
In Idaho Springs, for instance, low water has already cut the rafting season short for all companies except one. 9 News reporter Rhea Jha joins us live from along the Clear Creek to explain how this company is navigating these record low water levels when so many others can't. Rhea.
Yeah, Phil, and in some of these areas, the water is so shallow, maybe ankle deep, shin deep, and despite that, we saw rafting groups cruising along the river. The owner of that rafting company said he saw this pattern of low water levels and decided to be prepared for it. The current usually carries Colorado's rafting companies through the summer.
Go forward one.
This year, many didn't even make it to August.
They all closed approximately 2 weeks ago. Yeah, paddle high five.
Out of more than a dozen rafting companies in Idaho Springs, Rocky Mountain Whitewater Rafting is the only one still afloat.
You know, the water was getting low. Nobody has run it to these water levels before.
Ron Rodaludis owns the company.
Yes, yes.
And has been rafting on Clear Creek for more than 30 years.
We all expected to not even make it to this far. Yes, the environment is changing.
Ron said water levels at Clear Creek are lower today than they were on closing day last year in early September.
Now it seems to be more frequent and more drastic of drought situations.
With less and less water to rely on, Ron changed course.
We didn't pull out our typical rafts. We used our low water rafts. We never got above low water, so I felt it was the most appropriate thing to do for our guests. That's exactly what was going through my mind when we bought these rafts. What's the future hold for us?
These rafts only need 2 inches of water to keep moving.
It's not necessarily where the guides want to operate because they want the funnest day every day. But our guests, most of them are from out of state.
The rapids aren't exactly roaring, but these rafts and Ron's business are still running.
I really hope that we can get these rainstorms come through for us in the next week, and that we can actually get a full season of rafting.
How long the company stays open depends on how much rain we get in the next week or so. So fingers crossed for the company, fingers crossed for the visitors, because it is hot. Reporting along Clear Creek, Rhea Jha, 9 News.
Well, if it wasn't so disappointing to hear this, it's absolutely beautiful where you are, Rhea. Just your shot, everything. We're like, wow, it's so beautiful. And yet you realize all these rafting companies are struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks to our photographer, Mike Grady, obviously setting up a beautiful shot. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
least
we
we have
praise him for that, man. It's all good.
Rhea, thank you. So first it was Cyclospora, sickening thousands of people across this country. That was bad enough. Then there were more than 1 million cartons of eggs that were recalled because of Salmonella. Nearly 100 people got sick across 17 states there.
And now the CDC is once again tracking a Salmonella outbreak. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Rosari joins us. It's hard to know really what's safe to eat. You know, like what are we supposed to eat? A bunch of chips and bad foods
As
for us?
you and I do all the time anyways.
It's like one thing after another, right? Nothing is safe. Nothing healthy maybe is safe. But Kim, you may remember the state health department issued an alert in late July after seeing an increase in Salmonella cases. State investigators were working with federal health officials to find the source, and it ultimately led to the jalapenos. And while the state epidemiologist believes there's no longer a risk of exposure tied to this outbreak, they do expect the number of reported cases to grow.
Outside of what some may consider to be fast food, Dr. Rachel Herlihy shares some news that's spreading quick.
Yeah, so nationally, there have been a total of 345 cases associated with this outbreak across multiple states. And here in Colorado, we've had 110 of those cases.
Dr. Herlihy is the state epidemiologist talking about a Salmonella outbreak the CDC and FDA has tied to jalapenos from Mexico. They were distributed to a number of places, including Chipotle and Qdoba restaurants. So far, Colorado and Minnesota are tied for the most cases at 110.
We've seen that, multiple locations of Qdoba and Chipotle restaurants have been linked to this particular outbreak, obviously here in Colorado, but also nationally.
Dr. Herlihy says a lot of the cases come from the Denver area, but they've also popped up in Boulder, Larimer, Weld County, all the way to El Paso County, Summit, and to the Western Slope. She says people impacted range in the age from children to older adults. And no one has died, but so far, 6 people have been hospitalized.
These restaurants have taken very proactive steps to remove and replace these products on their menu. So we don't believe that there is an ongoing risk. But it can take a while for cases to make their way to public health, for us to interview cases and gather information. So we do think the counts will still continue to increase in the coming days. But we hope that it's really just going to be small numbers, cases that are sort of lingering out there right now.
What also may linger is the idea that these places are no longer safe. Dr. Herlihy hopes to change that mindset fast.
I want Coloradans to understand that and feel reassured that these restaurants have taken appropriate actions.
Now, we did ask the state when those jalapenos were removed from the restaurants, and they did not know exactly when, but they say it's been a little over 2 weeks since the last Salmonella case was reported to them, so they're hoping the numbers will dwindle down. Kim?
Yeah, it's tough. Hard not to be a little worried when you order something like lettuce on something right now. Like, oh boy.
Listen, it's summertime. I love me a good summer salad, and I feel very hesitant about it now. It's a bummer.
I know. Okay, well, as they said, it seems like things are calming down, so we'll take that in stride. Thank you, Jaleesa.
New today, the Trump administration is proposing sweeping changes to the Head Start program, which provides early education and healthy services to low-income children. The White House says it wants to replace many of the program's federal regulations with state standards. They say that would save about $2 billion a year that could go back into the program, creating more than 200,000 additional slots. However, critics say the plan could gut the program by tossing out many of the regulations that make it what it is. The overhaul could also face legal challenges before it takes effect.